All right. Good day, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, I say that a lot. 2 shows a week. Welcome back to another Let the Fuel show here in 2019. Yes, I'm quite expressive today. Yes, I'm recovering from a lung surgery. Yes, I'm going to call you out as loyal listeners, and I'm asking for new reviews because, seriously, you guys are slacking off. Like, give me some new reviews. I want to read them on the show, guys. Seriously, go on to iTunes. Give me a freaking review. So, that's my rant. Without further ado, guys, I've been on this young lady's show. I've spoken alongside of her at podcasting conferences. We've geeked out across all platforms of social media. I believe she can correct me on that. She's a smart cookie with a hell of a background, people. Okay, unique background. Yeah. It enables her to speak, right? Speak. I'm speaking. She's speaking. It enables her to speak from a perspective rarely seen in others. What began as a career in computer engineering? That's right. I went there. Computer engineering, people.
Did
soon made its way into law, right? Hold on, engineering to law, not done yet. And then ultimately ended up in contract management. Nothing exciting there, but she could probably define that deeper. And then deep love for pop culture and her desire to help others found a way to merge into the form of podcasting and public speaking. So without further ado, people, Aimee J of Chasing Dreams HQ has joined the show. Welcome.
Hey, Scott. I was trying to get my Funko in there. Can you get that? All right.
I like the Funko. Yeah.
Yeah. Pop culture.
What is up with the Funko, by the way? So, FYI, for the listeners, we always do video now on YouTube, and she's got this really, we'll go with eclectic shelving arrangement set behind her in her home studio.
It's diverse.
Please help me understand that because I don't know what the hell that is.
Funkos are... Well, back in the day, it was all action figures, right? Everything was action figures.
Oh, yeah. I was a G.I. Joe kid, Transformers, GoBots.
I had it. I was that. And
wait, you had that too?
Yeah, I did.
Girl. Engineers.
Yeah. And well, now Funko is kind of that cool thing that people collect. And so I have little dolls. They're little action figures.
With large heads.
That's the characteristic of the Funko, right?
Okay.
It's known for that. And so I have... Nintendo.
I'm writing this down. How do I spell Funko?
Funko.
Oh, it is that obvious? Just funky, but Funko?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it is. And I have Supergirl. I have Batman. No, I don't have Batman. I have Robin. Robin's my boy.
Wait, they actually remade the classic characters into their own Funko versions?
They have it. They also have sitcoms. So like Friends has it. Saved by the Bell.
No.
Lord of the Rings. There's a variety of it.
There's giant fat-headed dolls made after Lord of the Rings and Friends.
Yeah, hey, whoever came up with Funko, genius.
Well, if you think about it, each of those platforms, each of those brands have a very loyal viral following.
Yes.
Wait, so they have Seinfeld too?
Yes, probably. I believe so.
Because I honestly, let's be real. If you had to think about monetarily from the 90s into the 2000s, I'm going to go ahead and lean that it's a tight tug of war between Seinfeld and Friends. Both very viral shows.
You know what?
Jerry Seinfeld made a lot of money.
They have a different type of Funko for Seinfeld, but I'm sure you can
I figure you have to pay for licensing rights.
They probably do, but really, they just license it. Look how popular it's rejuvenated.
Yeah.
All these shows, right? People from our generation are going to grab them because they loved it. Other people are learning about it, right? So it's the best of both worlds.
It's like me with I collect cycling and ski stuff. So
you do.
I do. I do actually live that lifestyle though when I'm not, recovering from lungs.
Recovering an injury from an injury. Well, and the thing about these it's a nice reminder of, hey, it's cool to have fun. And that's why I kind of keep it up there because it's my little fun reminder.
Funko. I just now I'm going to be literally saying Funko the rest of the day. All of a sudden it's stuck in my vocabulary right now. And I'm like,
yeah,
Funko.
Sorry, man. Can't help it,
It's just, do they have their own rap music or hip hop or anything? Or
no, you know what? They may have. They may have figures.
Funky music.
They may have figures. No, I don't.
See, I'm gonna have to Google the crap out of this after today's show now.
Thank you. I didn't want you to be bored.
Well, you're a big fan. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we're geeking out already, but you've done 150 plus episodes, and you've been featured in top 20 for new and noteworthy podcasts, but also under the business, society, and here's the key word, culture. So it's kind of funny you and I are geeking out because these are actually culturally, related things.
Yeah.
Granted, tied to television and toys, but
I like a variety in my life. As you can tell from the background you talked about, I'm not about kind of being pigeonholed.
You're my sister from another mother.
Hey.
And like from another ethnicity and from another, I mean, we could just keep going with that, but I mean, so many layers. Like when I was on your show,
we're family.
You and I were having so much fun because I was like, you called me out on the same thing. Like, dude, you've kind of worn a lot of hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't think about it until people say it. And then I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't think about it really either until I get called out. Kwame Christian, he does the Negotiate Anything podcast. I was on his show.
Oh.
And, you know, he brought up my computer background. Right. And I was like, huh. And you don't realize with that background, right? Because I went, yes, as you said, from computers to law to contract management, project management right now.
Sure.
And you don't think, like, it seems weird. It seems kind of spread out, but honestly, they're all connected.
Like, oh, yeah. I mean, they all overlap. Let's be real.
I mean, but I use stuff from, like, I use the scientific method in my law, in my negotiating. It just comes up. I don't realize that. I actually didn't realize it until I talked to Kwame about it. And I was like, yeah, I guess you can put my background.
Wait, after all this time, you never thought about it until that show?
I did it unconsciously.
See, this is why podcasting's so fun.
Yeah.
That's right. Listeners, we might geek a little bit because you got one podcaster talking to another podcaster. And let's be real, I started a podcast show because I liked podcasting. And then I got tired of hearing bad shows. And I was like, well, I got a lot of stuff to share. Let me launch my show.
Why not?
You know?
Why not? Right?
And that's how you and I actually first met, right? Shout out to, what was that, MapCon?
It was MapCon 2017.
17?
17?
I'm 2.5 years old, right? Almost 2.5. Yeah. 17, 18. Yeah. MapCon 2017.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's
shout out to Joe Pardo. Super Joe Pardo.
Joe has brought so many people together.
And he's still considered a small podcasting venue, if you think about it.
Yeah, it's weird.
Right?
Yeah.
Like this year's going to be the 5th year.
It's going to be the 5th year. Is one of the first podcast
and he changed
conferences.
The venues. I saw the email.
We're stepping it up.
We're going casino.
We're going ATL. Oh, no. Sorry. Atlantic City. So what is that? AC?
I was like ATL's.
ATL's Atlanta.
Yeah. Okay. That's the
City,
airport code.
AC. We're going AC.
AC.
Yeah.
Or as an AC Slater. I just connected on another show.
See? Look at you, Wade. Bringing back the 90s.
Yeah, because I'm not 41. What?
There's probably a podcast about that.
Did I just age myself?
I was all about the 90s.
Yeah, it's okay. I mean, I graduated high school in the 90s. This happened in a conversation last night. Tying this full circle back to my lifestyle, right? So yeah, you and I were joking around before we hit the recording. She was, ladies and gentlemen, Aimee's so nice. I mean, Aimee J was asking like how I'm feeling and recovering because I'm recording this officially on February 10th, and I'm going to literally air this show in the next week. That way, it's fresh and hot.
Right.
Aimee gets more cred. I move her up in the lineup than other people can just wait. I don't care.
Got to know the right people, guys.
My show, Pete. My show.
Got to know the right people.
So I have been going through such skier withdrawal that I pulled the male, I called it yesterday, the male ski bunny card. So anybody who's a skier or a snowboarder, like when people go to a resort, but then they don't actually ski.
Right.
They just hang out and go to the bar or go to the spa or whatever.
Right. They're there for the atmosphere.
So I was like, wait a minute, I've never done this. And I've only been out just over 2 weeks from post lung surgery. So I was like, and my fiance she was up skiing with my friends. So I'm like, forget this. So I, threw the dog hammock in the car and got Calvin, our coonhound, in there. And he's a 3-legged tripod because we saved him from cancer
a
few months ago. So it's like one gimp traveling with another gimp.
Not being held back, living life.
And I was like, dude, let's go. And we went for a quick little hike. I got him outside, then I got him all nestled up in the car, and then I went into the lodge and cracked his windows, and he got his little blankie and his water and all that goodness, and because he's a 10-year-old coonhound, and you got to spoil him. But then I'm like, people are like, oh, dude, what's up, man? What are you doing? How is you actually skiing already? I'm like, no, I'm just here to be this bunny. And people are like
osmosis. They're
like, how hard is that? I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly.
By the way, I was like, I'll take some Johnny Walker Black Label in my coffee. Thank you. And, so that was my day yesterday.
Yeah, you were just in the environment to get the fumes from you.
I needed the energy.
You just needed the vibes.
Yeah. And that happened today. A good buddy of mine, he's one of the owners of one of the CrossFit gyms that I traditionally train and I used to coach at. And he wanted to leave town. He's like, dude, you've been out 2 weeks. Can you come cover a class for me. We do a Hero WOD Sunday. Every Sunday we do it's like a heroes level workout. And
that you can't do.
I can't do.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I could come coach. So that's what I did this morning. And so I'm high right now because yesterday's skier energy, that's
the vibes from that, right?
And then today, this morning's, CrossFit thing, it's balanced with frustration because I can't do the things.
Right. You're held back just a little bit.
Just a little bit. It's a little frustrating.
Just a little bit.
For the listeners, I'm holding my fists up in the air.
Just a little bit.
But and now I get to geek out with you and take more of that energy from my love of podcasting. So.
There's something about being in an energy zone, though, that makes you feel like you can do anything. I have an office in my house. I live with my parents, taking care of them, and I have an office. So I can
props, by the way, because people don't want to do that anymore. They just want to stick people in homes.
Yeah, thank you. No, they're fine. They're self-sufficient. It's just, my dad has a heart condition, so it's nice if mentally for our siblings that we kind of have someone around. Mm-hmm. But, I have a place to go. This is a great little place for me.
I like your little lair. I'm going to call it a lair.
But sometimes a change in environment can be so productive. Mm-hmm. I went to the library. Do you remember what that was?
I have not done. Wait, what is this library you speak of? What is this thing?
I haven't been to a library in so long. Our library apparently just got renovated. It's like a huge mansion. It looks amazing. State-of-the-art technology. I went and I stayed in the study room, and I was there from 10.
They have study rooms now in libraries?
Yes, with like desks that people can just
Did they had that years
quietly.
Ago?
I think they had.
I remember study cubicles. I remember little wooden cubicles.
Yeah, I don't know if public libraries had study rooms before. Law schools and all had them, but public libraries, I don't think so. But they're stepping it up.
Okay,
it was full. I was there from 10:30 to 3:30. Just
dude, that's a 5-hour push.
There's something about when you're in the zone of working and just excited about what you're doing and passionate about it that you just don't realize what time it is.
So I got to pause real quick. What you and I are discussing, is a 4-letter word. What am I going with? It's a good word, not a bad word. It does start with an F.
Fun.
And the second word is state. You were in a
fugue state, but that's not 4 letters.
Flow state.
Oh, flow state. Yes, I was.
You being a smart cookie. There's a lot of discussions around flow state, energy flow, channeling, getting into the zone, as some people like to say, right? That's what we're talking about right now.
I absolutely was in that state. And because, when you're in that state is when it's hard to stop, but I had to go run some errands and do some things. And so when I got back home, I couldn't wait to get back into it. Right.
So you were still high on the flow state.
I was still high on it.
You changed your surroundings and brought that energy home.
Yeah. And that's when you're in like the right state. A lot of people stress over what you're doing, but when you're passionate about something, you're in the zone of doing it, right? It's not work to you. It's just fun.
I like it.
And I'm working on a project for March that I don't know how it'll go. I'm actually scared out of my mind for it. But
were you tapping into that at all during your 5 hours of flow?
I was trying not to think about it.
So you use that as a way of escaping.
Yes.
And channeling on something else.
Because, we focus so much.
What we're talking about right now.
You focus on the negative so much that I could have been paralyzed with fear. But I went with the other side of what would happen if it worked? What would happen if this does go forward and is successful, regardless of how successful in any state? I was like, this could be game changing for me in my life and for others. And so I was like, imagine that. And I put that energy into planning it.
Okay. So you did your best at the library. So I want to dig deeper into this because I'm all about personal development, professional development. That's why you and I have grown over the past.
We're very similar,
public speaking, right? There's, pardon the term, there's hacks. Everybody's loved the buzzword right now is hacks past couple of years. So if you want to go with hack, there are these hacks that you and I are literally talking about right now that maybe people are skipping right over.
Sure. Let's bring it back then.
Yeah. You and I have both struggled recently. Like I was just on your show, and actually while I'm talking about this, because I like to plug as early as possible in the show, Here's a screen share for the video watchers. But ladies and gentlemen, you can find her at Aimee with 2 E's at the end. So AIMEEJ21.com. Or you actually just go to Chasing Dreams HQ as in headquarters.com. It goes to the same site.
Yep.
But check this out. Oh, what's that? What's that third one right there? Episode 176.
Yes.
You got to go listen to it, people, because that's Aimee and I rapping on her show, Fuel Your Passions.
We had a great time.
Self-plug.
We had a great time.
Self-plug.
It was a fun episode.
I love that show with you.
We had fun.
You and I talked a little bit about me trying to, get my first book out there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And since that chat, I have spent 0 time working on the editing that I'm supposed to do.
In fairness, since that chat is when you went to the hospital.
Okay. That might have interrupted my flow state a little bit.
Just a little bit.
See, they keep getting in the way. I keep telling them.
See, that's an external, talking about flow state, that was an external thing that impacted you, right? But
definitely a surprise.
You have to allow that for that. You have to have allow for the grace.
Yes,
of
listeners.
Those kind of unexpected obstacles.
Yeah, hear what Aimee J is dropping right now. You got to be ready to collapse a lung. Okay,
it's going to happen. If you start beating yourself up about it, right? Hey, how could you get a collapsed lung?
Seriously.
Come on.
Stop being such a wuss, Scott. What the hell?
Be smarter than that. But in reality, you guys, honestly, you got to be fair to yourself. Give yourself the grace to make that mistake or allow for unexpected things to happen, whether it's in your control or not.
Mm-hmm.
And because if you stay in the state of blame and I can't believe it happened, it's not productive.
Actually, to be fair, I am my own worst self-critic. So literally the tips you're giving right now is totally me.
It's probably for you.
Let's be real. You're driven. I'm driven. Aren't we our own worst self-critics?
Oh, yeah.
I think people don't understand the podcast and when they hear this stuff. Like all these people that have grown seriously strong followings or they're massive, like people like Grant Cardone in the sales space, or Gary Vaynerchuk, or Pat Flynn,
Damon Shark.
Our boy Michael O'Neill's leveling up, right?
Solopreneur.
Guys, like all they did was put in the reps a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But each and every person is still a human being. We are all human beings. We are all going to be making, if you want to call them mistakes, granted, I didn't really collapse my lung on purpose. It was more of like a oops, life lessons about to unfold experience. So, but I was beating myself up about it. And now I'm like, I was all paranoid because I'm like, crap, this now throws off the book timeline. This could impact my wedding. I'm like, oh, crap.
But you have a choice, right? You have a choice to allow it to continue to hold you back, or you have the choice to acknowledge that it happened. It is what it is, and move forward.
True.
Right. And of the two, which one's more productive?
Well, and we preached about it on episode 176 on your show. I said, I think at the end of the show, what did I say? You got to be prepared to kick your own ass. There's a new quote, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to have to make a graphic this weekend and put that one up. Be prepared to kick your own ass. Because we're kind of joking about not beating yourself up, but at the same point, that's the point, is that the speed bumps, the walls, the hurdles, whatever, the roadblocks, whatever you want to call them, they're going to come.
Right.
Some bigger than others.
I had to actually cancel/postpone 2 calls last Thursday because
What happened?
I'm switching jobs at the moment. So I was cleaning my office, this lovely place. And I was moving.
It does look very clean, by the way.
Thank you. It's halfway done.
Listeners, go to YouTube. You'll be able to watch and check out her nice, sweet little pad. Or a layer of creation. Layer of creation and inspiration.
It's
the
powerful.
Chasing Dreams layer.
Layer of creation and what was the second part? Inspiration.
Layer of creation and inspiration, aka the Chasing Dreams layer. I don't know. I have layers stuck in my head right now.
Yeah, we were talking about Command Center earlier.
Well, and Batman and Robin, and like
so it all kind of comes together.
In my head. Right? See? Sorry, keep going. I had to get that out there.
Well, so I was cleaning. And I was putting some books. It was not 1 or 2 books. It was a few books. And I guess I overestimated how these books were because as I went to put them down, I had a muscle spasm in my back.
So you might have a few books.
It took me.
What I'm hearing.
Like
more than the top shelf here.
Yeah, I have more books than this. Yes.
Yeah.
So
you got books behind you. You know.
But not all of them. So I was laid out from it, so I had to recover. I had to cancel these podcast interviews, like interviews for them.
You slacker.
I know.
Seriously.
I was saying that. And, the thing is, we beat ourselves up and people are understanding, right? These guys were like, hey, take care of yourself first. We understand, let me know when you're better and we'll do it. All I could think was, why now? Like, why are we doing this now? Now everything's going to be delayed. Mind you, nothing's delayed. We work in advance, so there's some cushion, but it doesn't stop you from beating yourself up. Like, I was probably beating myself up for at least a day until I realized really nothing happened that was catastrophic.
No.
The world kept spinning. I had them reschedule. Everything's fine. But it's hard to stop yourself from beating yourself up. The key is to do it as little as possible.
I'm with you because obviously 8 days in the hospital, I've never been hospitalized like that. So that was a wake-up call.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing what you're talking about, muscle spasm, lung collapse, doesn't matter. It's a physical injury, right? Something
Yes.
you didn't plan for. Apparently I had mine for 3 weeks and didn't even know. Shout out to X-rays. X-ray technology, people.
In fact, you recorded your episode on my show with it. With it.
Could you tell that I had a 35% collapsed left lung?
Had no idea.
Right?
Had no idea.
Drop the mic right there.
He's a professional right there, guys. Professional.
I probably should not be bragging about this at all, actually. Because actually, remember, I also competed in a CrossFit competition that weekend. That day. So my team took third that day.
Yeah.
And came home and did a podcast with you and then recorded another guest appearance on my show, all with a collapsed lung.
It's probably what reminded him, hey, something's not right. But the point is,
and I never got the X-ray until the following Friday.
After?
I didn't go right away. I didn't know yet.
Jeez.
Well, the doctor wanted me like that Monday after you and I chatted. Like, she's just like, you still got that weird cough. I'm like, yeah. I was like, yeah, but dude, I just took third on, CrossFit competition. Aimee J and I rapped out on a podcast. So I'm good. She's like, here's a script. I'd like you to get in and get an X-ray as soon as you can. I was like, okay, I'm leaving on a business trip. So I left for Syracuse, New York, did some business travel, and then came home. And then that Friday, I was working with my clients all day.
Right.
And I'm like, not making time. I'm like, I still got to get this stupid X-ray. And then I was going to go and visit one of my regular co-hosts I have on all the time. Shout out to Dr. Megan Cannon, sports psychologist. I was going to go and record a live episode at her office. And I had it on the calendar. And I was like, hey, just real quick, I should be getting there on time. I'm just going to stop by and grab this quick X-ray. Obviously, I had to cancel because I texted her. I'm like, oh, I literally, boom, they want to rush me in an ambulance.
Right, they saw it.
Blah, blah, blah.
Alarms are going off.
Yeah. So anyway, so I was like, okay.
Otherwise, he would have kept going, guys. Otherwise, he would have kept going.
I would have, because I was doing it for weeks.
And honestly, we joke about it now because you're okay.
Yes, right? But I mean, shout out to medical technology. I usually bust on the medical profession a lot. And I did the whole time I was in the hospital, but not on the medical profession, just on the system that guides their nutritional practices. And it's not the staff's fault. They're following systems that are broken. We'll just say that. But let's be real. Actually, shout out to the blind blogger himself, Maxwell Ivy.
Oh, why is that?
Because he called me out on a post. I posted from the hospital, and he's just like, I know you're the health and fitness guy, but I think this is a great example of how you might not have been listening or paying, to your body.
All right, Max.
And I responded immediately instead of really taking that feedback. So Max, if you hear this, I'm shouting out to you, bro. Because then I commented later and gave him a shout out. But I was like, no, dude. Yes, I agree with you. I am the health and fitness nut. And yes, I was listening to my body, and I knew there was something wrong, but it wasn't detrimental that I thought. So I justified my position.
Sure.
And then like a day or two later, once I started seeing that it wasn't healing and things were not improving, and then I'm like, I went back to that post and I gave Max a shout out. I'm like, bro,
sometimes
a coach is going to take the coaching.
Yeah.
Boom, you nailed it.
It's hard. It's hard, right? It's hard for us when you're on the go, when you're someone who is active, a professional, regardless of what it is. Sometimes it's hard to hear feedback, whether it's from ourselves or someone else, that is critical of us. It's hard to take that well, regardless.
Well, it also gets tied to what you and I briefly chat about on the show about my crazy history, right? Going from farm kid to corporate life to firefighter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So over those years, I've never really bragged about it, but I kind of always kind of joked around like, oh, dude, yeah, I got a high pain threshold. Like when you're in the hospital, by the way, every single day, multiple times a day before they give you their meds, they're like, where's your pain at? What's 1 through 10?
Level. Right.
And I'm like, guys, I keep telling you as you rotate your staff, it's the same answer. I have a high pain threshold. So I don't know, should it be a 7, but I'm going to give you a 4? You know, like I'm pretty good.
Is that what you answered to them?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm an asshole. So,
classic Scott.
Yeah, you know, I don't hide it. I have no problem busting my own balls. I'm a jackass. So, I mean, the staff loved me. I mean, because I was always positive through the entire stay.
Right. You weren't a jerk.
I'm joking around with it. Because, come on. You know there's going to be a lot of whiny people in the hospital.
Hard for nurses. Shout outs to all those in the medical profession, especially nurses.
Dude, the sacrifices they make doing their 12-plus hour shifts and everything. Yeah. I felt bad. I felt bad asking for water. I was like, you know, but I mean, granted, I had a chest tube sticking out of my rib cage and I wasn't supposed to move around right away. So I'm like, you know, I didn't want to hit the call button. So I would just wait and like sit there.
Yeah, but they're there for you. I mean,
next time they swing by, I'm like, hey, you know, I just want to save you guys some work. I just get 2 cups of water instead of 1. That way you don't have to come back for a while. And don't put ice in it. You know, the cold water is nice, but then if you don't put ice in it, I get more water, which means I don't have to ask you for more water for a while. Like, clearly, that's how my brain thinks. Like, I'm worried about them. So, I am that weirdo.
Well, to your point, though, right? I mean, we don't want to, we could be selfless, except when we need to be selfish.
Nice.
Right? I mean, we give others.
I do try and pride myself on giving back.
You do.
I try and promote that more. I want people to give back. It's funny you're hitting on that because I did say when I was in there, I'm like, that was, I think, part of the biggest humbling part of the experience was I was like, crap. You know, I'm terrible at his last name. Shout out to Nick, the independent podcast. Yeah.
Goblish.
How do you say his name?
Goblish. Like goldfish.
I just call him Goblish. And then Raph of SRBD.
Yes.
So Raph and Nick, they're all like a group texting me, like they literally write to like, holy shit, Batman's down. And I was like, why are they calling me Batman? Like, oh, Batman's going to bounce back right away. There's like this group text is going on while I'm like through the ER. And I'm like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
And for the listeners, these guys are both, Raph needs to man up and finally launch the podcast. I've been saying it since the first time I met him for 2 years. And then Nick has a great podcast. But anyway, I remember the first season or the second season. I showed back. It was a second MapCon. I showed up and I was rocking a new suit.
Yes,
and,
you were.
What's her name? Her kids. She had them launch their own podcast. She works with podcast websites.
Yes.
Crap.
Ramona.
Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know her new
Ramona's
last name.
son, I guess, was like, oh, are you Bruce Wayne? Because I was dressed so nice. And that's, I think, how the whole Batman thing started. Okay. And they were just having fun with it. So it's just kind of funny, full circle. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I know you weren't there, but we're having fun because she knows exactly what I'm talking about. And these two guys are characters. They're actually great, genuine men, and they were seriously concerned. And more humbling, by the way.
Because you're so selfless that it's hard to remember to be selfish.
Yeah.
You need to be selfish.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. I got to write that. There we go.
I mean, because, the thing about entrepreneurs, the good ones, is you give and give and give, right? That's our nature, is to give, to podcast. It's hard to remember to be selfish when we need to be like in taking care of ourselves, right? Because we're like, when I had my back injury, I was thinking, man, I'm not going to be able to get this podcast episode out so that everyone can listen to it.
Oh, so I'm not the only one who was worried about that.
Yeah. Exactly.
It's literally, I was beating myself the same way. I was like I'm hitting my microphone as I'm talking to you here. I'm getting all fired up because I was like literally my podcast episodes were going up late. And I was so pissed. I'm like, dude, you've been doing this for 2.5 years. You call yourself a professional.
And you just beat yourself up, right?
And now, granted, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like when you publish, ladies and gentlemen, if you're using podcast websites, shout out to them. Like I could go in and when I launch the blog article and upload the file, all I got to do is backdate it.
Sure.
To the day it was supposed to go live. And then once everything is online, it looks like it went up that day.
Yeah.
I know it went up 2-3 days late. But I'm doing that just because I've always said Mondays and Fridays are my episodes.
Right, that's the date. which is
and
fine.
I just did it again this past week. I was, with going back and forth to the doctors and getting up-straight X-rays,
Yeah.
and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, things were crazy. And I still feel bad about it.
But and the thing is, it's not necessarily fair because we're not giving our audience, we're not giving our listeners enough credit because
True.
they would probably say, hey, your health first.
Yeah.
And if they don't say
Which
your
I
health
preach.
first, right, you say it. Right? Again, selfless, not selfish.
Aimee J is on a podcast right now telling me, the host, how it's important to fuel your health. Oh,
right.
and
The irony
lifestyle.
of this.
My tagline.
Let it sink, guys. The irony of this. But I mean, I think we got to give our audience credit that, we would want them to do the same thing. If they were injured, we want them to take care of themselves. Same thing, they would understand. And if they don't understand, is that really the guest and audience you want?
That's a good point. Because I tell people that with their marketing, right? Like if I tell people all the time, like if you have a client who sucks up 50% of your time because they're a whining pain in the butt, that's the client you get rid of.
Yeah.
Money's not worth everything, right? Because the amount of resources that person's sucking up reduces their value per dollar.
Yeah.
And if I lose them, I lose the psychological warfare.
Yep.
And I can reallocate that time to welcome in new income and new relationships that do reward you.
Sure.
Right? So there's a quick little fun business lesson there, ladies and
gentlemen. You get back not just the quantifiable, but also the qualitative state of mind.
Qualitative is so important.
It's not given enough credit, I think, honestly. It's not given enough credit.
It goes back to your points also on me or you valuing our rest and recovery. Like I preach that now.
Yeah.
When I first got into CrossFit, I'm like, I'm hitting 2-a-days workouts. I'm doing 4 or 5 days a week. Nowadays, 3 times a week, maybe 4.
Yeah.
And, people are like, oh, dude, you've really changed. You're kind of like slacking off. I'm like, am I? Or have I learned the power of rest and recovery? Granted, I'm saying this now, but then I'm also not doing it from my surgery. But
I think you're right. I think the thing is you see on so many business courses and business classes, or even just influencers, right? And how they're grinding 24/7, not 7 days a week, 365. That's all it is. That's what life is. And you're like, what's the reality though? Yeah. Chances are has
anybody actually paused that statement and done the math?
Yeah. Because let's be honest, people are batching, guys. People batch.
Hold on. Let's pause.
Okay.
For some of the newer listeners, what is batching?
Batching is the concept of doing more than one at the same time. So, for example, I will batch sometimes recordings where on Monday I'll record more than once. I'll have like 3 or 4 recordings just that day where I'm only focused on recording. Yeah. And therefore
time management.
It's a very big, important skill for time management. A lot of people, those who, Mark Asquith actually talked about it. This is the biggest example I've heard of batching. One day he took like a week or a weekend and he just wrote 80 articles to be used for the rest of the year.
That's impressive.
He queued it up. He batch wrote and just wrote. And he has all the articles. All he has to do is edit them. But, writing that first draft is the hardest part. So he has them so he can space it out for about 2 years. Almost. Well,
I mean, what you're talking about, people have done to launch new spin-off podcasts or shows too. Like, ladies and gentlemen, she's giving you some podcast tips. Even if you're not a podcaster, like there's people who have thought out a show and said, okay, maybe I air a show once a month. And that still is daunting to some people, right? But it's like, wait a minute, that's only 12 shows in a year. So if you do what Aimee J is telling you right now, if you have a dream, to tie it back to her brand, Chasing Dreams.
Sure.
You have a dream to launch a podcast show. You don't know how it's going to do. So fine, maybe just do a 12-show show.
Yeah.
You record all 12 shows and you batch them. You schedule them out over 2019.
And you're done.
You launched a show and you don't have to do squat for 1 year.
It's a beautiful thing. You can do, I want to be clear though, batching isn't just a podcast thing, guys. If you want to write a book, you could do that. You can do it for people batch cook, right? Have food for the rest of the week.
Food prep. right? Tie it back to health and fitness.
Health and fitness, you can kind of get ready. You can't really batch exercise. That's more of a
that's tied to overtraining and not allowing proper rest and recovery.
That's not something I'd recommend, but there is some benefit to batching. So what we're saying is, for these people who are grinding 24/7, 365, you got to ask, are they actually doing it 24/7, 365, or are they using processes and systems to kind of be able to do what you see for 24/7, 365? It's a different mindset, right?
So it's kind of funny. Like, we always end up falling into some kind of multiple hacks or hacks during the show. Would you say that's I don't know. Would you call that a big lifestyle hack? I hate to keep using the word hack, but it's a thing.
I think that you can do more if you take the time to plan it than if you do it spontaneously.
Okay.
So, for example, like if you want to travel 5 times this year, instead of waiting 5 times in the year to plan it and do it, plan 5 trips now, and you're more likely to go on those 5 trips because they're already planned.
Good point. Yeah.
So I think batching is a hack.
There's a psychological benefit of commitment.
Yes.
Hinting at, right?
Absolutely. I think there's a benefit and a hack, if we're going to use that term, to systems and processes, because that's what batching is part of, is system and processes. So I think the hack is more in that than in batching, but I think that is a life hack.
Well, I mean, what you're talking about right now, I'm going to screen share again for the video watchers back to your site. Like, I just refreshed the website again just because I love some of the pop-ups you have coming up. Like, isn't it time you chase your dreams? It's a very casual question that you're sharing on your site.
Mm-hmm.
And people don't mean, obviously, speaker, podcaster, voiceover, and people have the options to work with you, or obviously click on the podcast like I showed earlier in the show, and she's got a lot of podcasts, okay? But what you're defining right now is directly tied to your question. Like, isn't it time to chase your dreams? How many people say, oh, well, the year got away with me and I never got a chance to book my vacation?
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
And they had no idea it was coming. Right.
Why did you let the year get away from you? I mean, I remember when I used to manage corporate space. How long were you in the corporate space, or engineering and everything else? And
I've always, since 2001, with a 3-year break for law school.
Okay. So how many times, so back in the day, 90s and early 2000s, back in the day, I used to coach and develop and manage employees. They actually got rid of our managerial titles and built us into coaches, which I still give a shout out to T-Mobile. That was the company that taught me that.
Okay.
And so I thought they were very forward thinking back then. And that was 01 to 06. And the big shift I saw was companies were spending a lot of money on vacation time. And back in the day, you got to become you got to sing your own hero story and be like, oh, dude, I'm such a hustler and I'm so driven by my career that I just cash out my vacation time at the end of the year. They don't take it. And back in the day, you were actually able to take the paid hours as basically like a bonus check. And I'm like, was that a bonus? Right? You want to burn yourself out in your career.
Right.
There's a great way to do it. Well, nowadays, I think companies don't even allow that anymore.
Yeah, not really.
Right?
Not really. I think the last 2 companies I've worked with have rollover, but they don't really.
And that's limited. They only let you
and
roll
that's
over
limited,
so much.
Right? It's X amount that you can. So really, you have this benefit of vacation time, and it's use or lose. That's the thing they're down with now, is use or lose, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah.
They want you to use it. They want you to take breaks. They want you to take it. One of the best things you can do is just even take 1 day a month.
Thank you.
For a mental health.
Turn your weekend into a 3-day weekend.
Once a month. Try
take
that.
That Friday or that Monday.
It's powerful.
I bet if I ran the numbers on that, I bet more people take a Friday than a Monday. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah?
I agree.
Be an interesting little quiz.
I agree. I mean, if you do a survey, I think most people will say Friday because it gets to the vacation sooner.
Yeah. You know what, listeners, if you hear this, if Twitter or Facebook, doesn't matter, message me. Let me know. if you had a choice, would you take a Friday or a Monday?
Should do a
And
Twitter poll.
if I get enough answers back, or tweet Aimee J, by the way, because her stuff will be in the show notes. But tweet both of
Let
us.
us know. Let us know.
know.
I'm pretty
this will be
sure.
a fun quiz.
I'm pretty sure. I mean,
because then I'll do a follow-up show and invite those of you who want to be onto the show. We'll do like a webinar style show.
we'll talk about it.
We should talk about this because this is another big lesson that we're talking about right now.
Yeah. Yeah. Because, entrepreneurs or influencers who work 24/7, that's great. It's awesome for them. That's what they need to do. I don't recommend it for everybody.
I call that the early days of Gary V. Because
it was.
Right?
Probably.
And then, what was it, 2 years ago now? He actually came out and admitted that the hustle, there's a better definition of that. Like his health was shaky and he wasn't being a great husband and he wasn't being a great father. And I remember
Something
him
has to give.
Stuff like that.
There was an influencer recently who was also on the go. She vlogged daily. And I want to say 4 or 5 months ago, she did a post. She took a break because she needed a break because her mental health was suffering. She was just down.
How can you stay purely creative that long, right?
That's a good point. That's a great point.
Because I feel like I've become forcing your creativity.
Well, are you really creative or are you just using someone else's ideas at that point?
Ooh, and how often do we see that?
Yeah.
Right? Like, what was another great quote? They say,
impersonation is the
best flattery.
Flattery.
Right? But it's like, okay, there's a fine line.
Copying.
On this. There's theft of information.
Yeah.
And then there's repurposing of content and then giving kudos to those that are due. Like,
right, acknowledging the credit.
I'm reblogging this. FYI, this is where it came from. That's cool.
Giving source credit.
Yeah.
But so here's the thing, and the reason I'm not a big fan of impersonation is each of us has our own story. Each of us is unique. As a twin, I'm allowed to say that because it's true. Oftentimes people are like, you're a twin, you're a copy. I'm like, no. My sister, Jamie, is her own person. She has her own stories and her own thread that's out there in the world. And I have one that's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's different and has their own story. Don't copy because you're cheating the world of your blessing.
I forget. Is she identical?
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. So it's just fun. I mean, just random side question, but
yeah, no, people couldn't tell us apart when we were young. My parents put finger nail polish on our toes when we were babies, and my mom just said at kindergarten, the teacher was like, "You got to do something for me," and so she would put a fake flower on one of us, so the teacher knew who was who. So we were identical
until you two became old enough to start messing with people. Did you guys ever do the twins?
We never did. Okay, so here's a fun story.
I feel like all identical twins should eventually screw with their parents at some point.
So in law school, both of us went to law school. We went together, and that's the only time we've ever had an issue with being twins. Because so law school put us in 2 different classes, so to speak. Probably, I think so. And so she had some friends initially that I didn't know, and I had some friends that she didn't know, and she had gotten. One of her friends was like, "Hey, why didn't you wave to me when I said hi yesterday?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? I didn't see you." And my friends would do the same thing. It's like, "Yo, what's up? Why didn't you just say hi?" And we compared notes because it happened to both of us, and we realized they saw me and my friend saw her, and so we just started waving at everybody. And the obvious question is, why didn't you just tell them that you're a twin?
Right.
We did. Nobody believed us.
Wait, what?
Nobody believed us initially. They were like, they either didn't believe us or they forgot and were in denial because they were like, what? So until like the second week when we could actually get people together, people were like.
I was going to say my answer to this would be to get both circles of influencers and friends together and be like, hey guys, wake up call. We weren't kidding.
1L law school, it's very busy. It's very stressful. So it took a while to get everyone together, but it happened.
Or you take a dual selfie and you show them on the phone hold on. What year was that?
I mean, you could see it on Facebook though. People who were friends with us were probably on Facebook. She's there. It's not like I hide her.
Oh man.
She's on my Instagram. It's not like I hide her, guys.
Did she try engineering first too?
No. See, and this is what I'm saying. We're both individuals. She was more biology than engineering.
I just think it's funny that years later,
Yeah.
You choose to launch a podcast called, Chasing Dreams, Chase Your Dreams.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you're identical twins, it's proof that there's limits to identical personalities or physical representations. Like, you still found different paths to follow, different dreams to chase.
Yeah.
Even though supposedly at the biological level, you're identical.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. It's a great point you make, because we're all identified not just by biology. It's our life experiences that shape us, right? She loves makeup. I don't care that much for it in that sense, the way she does. I love any kind of TV show. She's more into procedurals. Like, we have differences amongst us, but it's all our life experiences that define us.
I would like to get you both into a quotes conversation. That'd be interesting, right? Because like you shared when you booked your show, I'm going to shout out to you, ladies and gentlemen. One of the quotes she shared is actually a Lucille Ball quote. Yeah. So that's got to be what, from the 60s?
Lucy? Yeah. 70s.
And it was, I would rather regret the things that I have done than the things that I have not. And that actually transcends this entire show, actually. Yeah. All the different ways we've shifted through different points of focus, but that has stood true throughout this entire episode from what we've been talking about. I'm intrigued to see like what her top quote would be to balance that.
That's a good question. When I post this, I'll point her to it and have her put it in the comments. I
mean, she's your twin.
Yeah.
But have you and her ever sat down, just had quotes conversations?
No. No, we haven't. No.
I'm intrigued to see what she would come up with to either balance that or argue that.
No, she wouldn't argue it. I think she agrees with it.
Okay. I mean, you got to be both smart cookies. So
she'd probably have a different quote, but it'd be interesting. Because, I mean, to your point about how that kind of covers what we've been talking about in some way, shape, or form, I think it's because you and I live that. Mm-hmm. We don't want to have a regret that we haven't done. Mm-hmm. And I'd rather try it and it not work than wonder, what if it had worked, if I didn't do it, Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a life lesson that we discussed on your show. We're definitely discussing it on today's show, is that, dude, guys, like, I've joked around about it, but whether I liked it or not, my medical staff was happy to clarify for me that I had a life-threatening injury.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've done some crazy shit in my life. Mm-hmm. I mean, and the injury that triggered this massive injury was an injury that I had received when I was a firefighter. Like, I had displaced a rib just in a cartilage alignment in my back.
Huh? It was a latent injury?
No. Well, I mean, I did the same thing again. So like, I had displaced a rib in my left back when I was firefighting, and everybody made fun of me and called me a pussy because I couldn't hike with my chainsaw in my backpack because I couldn't breathe. Well, anyway, so that was
all fun and games,
right? And then I once we got released from that fire and I was able to get back to our home base and schedule an appointment with a chiropractor, she confirmed that I was right. That it was. She's like, yeah, your rib is not aligned, and she had to get it back in alignment. And then boom, I could breathe properly again. But I hadn't collapsed the lung. I don't know how this didn't happen back then. Now, granted, I was probably, I think, my firefighting weight back then was 195. And you'd be surprised what 10 pounds can do on a 6'4" frame.
Yeah.
Now I'm more of an endurance training athlete. So I usually my sweet spot's 185 to 190. But right now I'm down to 182, 183. And the doctor said, like, you being a tall, lean endurance athlete, you have an increased risk of this massive trauma, or, well, spontaneous pneumothorax. It wasn't traumatic. It was spontaneous. But the point was, while that rib was displaced a month ago, I was sent into fits of convulsive coughing.
Yeah.
The convulsive coughing is what triggered the collapsed lung.
Huh.
Couldn't have planned for that one because I was going off of my past experiences. And I'm like, oh, I've had this injury before. I'm smarter now.
Before. Yeah.
I started chugging my bone broth for anti-inflammatory benefits. I'm going for deep tissue massages. I'm just waiting for the holiday to get over so I can get back into my chiropractor to put that rib back in its right place. Like, I had my whole game plan lined out.
You've been there, done that. Yeah.
I didn't realize that during that little few days of transition, I had sprung a leak in the lung from all the coughing that was triggered from me not being able to breathe properly. And again, I got a high pain threshold, former firefighter and CrossFitter and blah, 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 blah.
And they don't teach you that in grade school or any point in your life. Hey, this could happen to you.
Yep. And then I need people like Max to call me out and be like, yo, dude, I might be blind, but you were not listening to your body. And if anybody knows the power of listening versus seeing, that man does. So
Indeed.
again, I got to shout out to him again, man. I love Max. He's awesome.
He is a great guy.
Ever since he showed up that time after that train ride across the country from Texas to come speak at his first event.
That was very impressive.
Right?
I'm still impressed by it.
Yeah. I mean, good for him, man. Like, God can't see.
He's chasing his dream, guys.
Yeah.
You
Again, blindblogger.net. Shout out to him again.
Yeah.
He does not advertise on this show. I don't have anybody advertising my show, but I have no problem shouting out people who are just awesome and inspiring.
Why not? Why wouldn't you shout out Max?
Yeah. And the fact that he could call out somebody like me because I am a jackass, like, more power to him.
Yes. He faced the possibility of getting roasted.
You know how good
Scott.
he probably felt when he posted that? If I'm trying to put myself in Max's shoes, like, oh my God, I get to call out Scott on something.
He probably didn't. He was like, I don't care. I'm writing this down.
Dude, he put me on a pedestal, and I'm honored that he did when I met him. Like, he loved my speech that year and everything else, and he's always shared my stuff, and he's very active in my fuel tank community on Facebook, so I love Max. And I'm just like, dude, no, man, like, you are just as much inspirational, if not more.
Sure.
So,
have you had him on the show?
Oh, God, yeah. I need to get him back on. I haven't been on his show yet, and I did remind him when I was in the hospital. I'm like, dude, get me once you get your stuff dialed in, because he's been a little under the weather and injured or sick or something.
Okay.
So I said, when you're ready, man, like, I'm there for you. Like, get me your scheduling link. I'll get on the show. So, because I want to help him out.
Absolutely.
But that's part of what we're talking about is chase your dreams, get through the roadblocks, get over the speed bumps. Crap's going to happen. You might collapse a lung. You might spasm your back because you're a bit of a book lover.
Allow yourself the grace for those unexpected circumstances.
Right? Like, hey, you know what? Literally, these things that we joke around about now might end up fueling our next speech or presentation, right?
Yeah.
So
you make a good point, because we can say this now because we're here to tell it.
Yeah.
But it could have gone worse for us.
It totally could have, because I did not realize how bad my situation was.
Right.
Like, I mean, a spasm you had, who knows? That you could have spasmed, and it could have been such a major spasm that actually you might have tripped and fallen and hit your head on something. And how many people literally hit their heads and possibly bleed to death? I mean, again, I don't want to get crazy here, but it happens. Anything
could have happened, right? I could have been out of commission for a longer period or forever. Don't know. But, we're able to share these lessons because we're okay.
Yeah.
But
I mean, the doctors told me, like, dude, you have a 35% collapse. I'm like, and? He's like, I need to call you an ambulance. I'm like, dude, I've had it for 3 weeks. I just competed in a CrossFit comp. I'll just drive myself to the ER. He's like, no, dummy. He said,
Scott,
you have a ticking time bomb in your chest right now. That's his exact statement. I'm like, and? He said, okay, dude.
We don't truly understand it.
Your partially collapsed lung could fully collapse. And I'm like, and I've got another one. He's like, no, dude. He's like, if your full lung collapses, all that space is not there anymore. He's like, everything in your chest has an arrangement for a reason. If something is removed, all the other stuff will shift. He's like, your heart will shift. Your other lung will shift. He's like, you won't be able to breathe. And I'm like, oh.
Right. It took that vision.
I guess you could call it an ambulance. Yeah, all right. I guess I'll shut up now.
Right. We're like, no. Again, but again, that to me, that was more your selfless. I don't want to put anyone out of the way. I can handle it. Yeah. Kind of, where you needed to be selfish in that moment, probably.
Well, he nailed it because as soon as he said that, the first thing that popped in my head, and I said it, I was like, hold on a second, let me call my fiance, because I was like, oh, maybe I'll just have her drive me. And then once again, and even she's like, dude, ambulance rides are $1,500. She's just like, do you really want to pay that? She's just like, I was like, babe, I don't care about the money. I'll make more. And then the guy's like, I got her on speaker, and he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, ticking time bomb, lung fully collapsed. Are you trained in life-saving training like paramedics are?
Right.
He's like, I want him to ride in an ambulance to be observed on his way to the ER. They need to slice into his chest wall and put a chest tube in to get the air out so his lung can fully inflate. What if it fully collapses while you're driving him or while he's driving himself? Yeah. It's all clicking, and we're all like, oh, okay, yeah, this is pretty severe. Okay. All right, fine. ER, ambulance ride.
Because you don't think it happened to you.
No, and I'm glad he hit on that, because I worried about, back to your point on selfless, I was like, crap, I don't want to drive my car. And then, God forbid, because I'm such a stubborn idiot, I could injure somebody else. because all of a sudden my car careens off the road because I
Because
can't
of this
breathe or
moment that you're having. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. And you know what? I'm sharing this because I want people to understand. And
Yeah.
that's why I love you hitting on this. Cause like we need to have, this is a humbling experience, but it's like good because I need to be reminded and like, dude, pull your head out of your butt. You know, you can't be a tough guy or a tough girl all the time. Right.
You're allowed to be human because guess what? You are.
Oh yeah. Darn. Yeah. Apparently at the biological level, I'm a human being, and apparently, tough guys and tough girls need to be reminded.
Somebody need to remind you.
Yeah.
Like, somebody needed to tell you that.
Like you felt bad about textbooks and back spasms. So you lost a day or two.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're right back on it, right?
I was. Yeah. But I sat in bed thinking of all the things that needed to be done.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's a work in progress, guys. Everything is a work in progress.
I made myself stay off the computer for 2 days. But I was in the hospital for 8 days. I'm like, baby, you got to bring the computer.
You stayed off the computer, but you were on the phone.
Damn right I was. I was bored as shit. I'm doing selfies. I'm doing Facebook Lives.
It didn't stop you from being on social. Well, so that's why I was like, oh my God, I just recorded with him. What happened?
Well, and that's why I did it. It wasn't like I was trying to get fame out of it. I wanted to show people that because the medical staff told me, like, dude, you're not our normal patient. Like you're always happy and you're always like, because it's taken us years to get to this point through the chasing dreams concept of like, dude, you have a choice on what your mental state is. I could wallow in my own self-misery or because I know the power of a healthy mindset and a healthy brain to drive healing of the body. Like I need to stay positive.
Mental health is a thing. We could talk about that forever too. But
and I want the people working on me to look forward to coming to my room. Like, I don't want them to like, oh God, I got to go deal with Scott. No, like, please come and please keep me healthy.
Yeah.
So
yeah, absolutely.
There's a lesson, people. If you ever go to the doctor and you're a jerk, think about that. Like,
well, first of all, stop being a jerk.
No, there's that. But,
in general.
But also, yes, they have a professional requirement to take.
But especially to those who are taking care of you.
Yeah. Like, dude, they're sacrificing so much. These ladies, a lot of them were ladies, but there was guys too. They're amazing.
It's hard, yeah.
They're on the 10th hour of their shift, and they're bringing me cups of water and my medication at 2:00 in the morning. Like, that's their life to keep our lives healthy and fit.
There you go.
So, listen, we've been on for almost an hour.
Well, we just kept having so much fun.
Time just flies, right?
It just goes.
Like, I want to check your time on a hard out, but
I'm okay.
So we hit on so many things today. Is there anything else that I did not do a good job as your fellow co-host, because you're the co-host, to bring out that's been happening right now? Like, because I want to make sure we give you as much light, so people can learn from you as well.
The one thing I will say, and we kind of touched on it here and there, is you should change your perspective every now and then. And you'll find that if you change your perspective, you change your life.
Now, how did you learn that?
I've learned it in a number of ways. One, in finding help for things that I didn't have to be the only one to do it, right? So often we're like, it's my dream, I have to do it, it belongs to me. And I realized, well, no, I don't have to do everything. Recently on the podcast and in my life, I've actually gotten people to join my team. So I have about four people on my team. And the reason I did that is, what I realized is I'm not kind of cheating my dream by getting help, but I'm actually helping them because these guys are passionate about their own specialties. Right. One's passionate about audio, video. One's passionate about social media. One's passionate about being a helper to others. And so I'm like, okay, well, let me help you chase your dream, and you're helping me chase mine. So
I like that.
That's just one, but honestly, Scott, it happened way early when I realized that if you do things like, instead of focusing and dwelling on the negative, well, then what happens if you focus on the positive? Mm-hmm. Right? Those little perspectives that come in and out. Excuse me. In January, I did a 31-day video challenge for myself because I actually don't like being on camera, despite the fact that we're on camera right now.
So good. We're reinforcing what you've already done.
Yes. And so one of the things I try to do is talk about perspective that we often think about differently. Like, we don't really think about the fact that in your life, you are the director, executive producer, and star. You are,
Valid. Yeah.
right? Not your parents, not your siblings, not society. So you get to decide what your life is supposed to be. That was a huge perspective change for me.
I like what you're hitting on there because it's my key word that pops in my head all the time that I use is the word accountability.
Yes.
Right? We need to be accountable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, when you fall asleep, who's the one living that life?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, unfortunately, when you pass away, it's just you.
Yep.
So, you know,
what legacy have you left behind?
Yeah. Legacy is a good word.
I love legacy these days.
Legacy is a great word. The other word I want you to focus on is own. It's not Oprah Winfrey Network, but that it's your own. You know, I think we often rely on others so much that we can't tell the difference between someone else's opinion and our own.
But see, I like what you're hitting on here right now because you started this point on growing a team, right?
Yeah.
But now you're bringing it back to the personal accountability, the ownership.
Yeah.
But also we talk about, because this is big in the entrepreneurial space, right? Or people who are starting their side hustles, because I'm guilty of this. Like Live the Fuel is multiple years old right now, but it's still just me. I've never taken on employees. I have a few VAs. I do outsource and I do virtual assisting. So yes, I do have a kind of a team.
That's all right.
But when it comes to the podcast, like you really opened up the thought process for me because I've bounced it around, but I've never taken it seriously. I'm like, you know, what if? So it's interesting. You got me thinking right now. I'm like, well, what
that
if
was a game changer.
A podcast team or something?
Yeah.
Because I don't want to depend on other people. But then it's like, well, are you depending on other people? Or to your point, are you now building a team so everybody can fuel each other? My word, I love it. You know, but fuel each other from their different skill sets and strengths, right? So they get to help you, but they are getting something in return. It is a two-way street.
Absolutely. And the thing about mine are all VAs contracted through like Upwork or something like that, but we work well together and they all buy into the same vision and mission that I have.
Which is hard to find in the VA world, by the way.
Yeah. Listen, I've gone through a number of people. You know, when I found someone good, I want to hold on to them and I want to help them. You know, that's important to me. And it's important to them that they feel as though they're giving back to the world. And they've said, you know, this is how we're doing that.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you can't do everything by yourself. You can do it yourself.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with getting help. Because I know there are people who are like, oh, you're such a sellout. Now you have all these, it's not your podcast. You got them doing it. Why?
No. You and I need to be focusing on what we do best, right?
Exactly.
We are the brand. We are the voice. Granted, I bring on great co-hosts like yourself to help share the voice. I've always done that from day one.
But that's what makes it work.
How many solo episodes I've done.
Yeah. But
like
that's what makes
250 was me.
Live the Fuel work.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the only reason why I did 250 was it's the 250 episode. I feel like I should do it solo, but also I had a great story to share, collapse lung. So yeah, great episode 250.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to help share that story.
No.
So, but from day one,
right,
I've always outsourced episode editing. Like I don't want to edit.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Focus
excite
on your
me.
strength. Yeah.
I think now people are like, you've never edited a podcast. I'm like, no, I don't want to.
So that
and like, while I was in the hospital, I thought about it again. I'm like, maybe I should take this back under my wing because like Nick's pretty knowledgeable. I was like, oh, maybe I'll reach out to Nick and he could show me how he does his edits. I'm like, no, like I don't mind paying for it. I don't want to deal with it.
Now I will say, you know, I've touched all aspects of the editing process, either through my previous podcasts or this one, because you want to know what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
But there's also nothing wrong with outsourcing.
You see, I was going to do that, but then I realized, wait a minute, I don't want any advanced editing for the show anyway. The only thing they do is they put I have a professional voiceover artist recorded show from Anna Vocino. So it's like, okay, I'm like, dude, all I need you to do is stick the intro and the outro on. Like it's not rocket science. So yes, I agree with you. If I was asking you for some more advanced editing, adding in soundtracks and stuff like that, I would definitely want to know exactly how they're doing that.
Right.
From a quality standpoint, take pride in your quality.
Sure.
But I knew from the beginning I was keeping it easy. So I was like, all right, if you can't do that right,
then maybe not the team member.
I always download the file and listen to it first. And then I fast forward to the end and listen to the outro. So I always quality check everything anyway.
Sure. Well, so here's the thing, right? And the reason I always say, when you change your perspective, you change your life. If you change your perspective on how you're doing something, it doesn't mean you have to agree with it. It just means consider something else, right? Because even what we're talking about may not be for everyone.
Yeah.
We're just saying, think about that possibility. That's because change your perspective, change your life. People are like, oh, but if I change my perspective, I own it. No, I just want you to consider it, right? Think about it. What happens if you consider the other possibility? The second part is what happens if you embrace that possibility?
By the way, I just thought of a new fun graphic you should have done. I mean, you can bust my balls and say it's stupid, but
Change perspective.
change perspective life.
Uh-huh.
I literally, and while you were explaining this to me, because it's how my brain works, I'm picturing like the recycling symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Or that circle of life, or it's like, well, through life experiences, they bring about change.
Yes.
And then embracing the change changes your perspective.
Absolutely.
And perspective then changes life. Like it's a never-ending cycle. And I'm like, dude, whether she does a recycling triangle or a circle, like I see you making a graphic out of this.
I think I like that.
I don't know.
I like that.
I just couldn't help it. So
that's all right. I appreciate that feedback.
So.
I appreciate the feedback. So, one thing I'm working towards, it's towards the end of 2019-20, is a book. The initial title is Change Your Perspective, Change Your Life. Don't be so focused on the door when the window of opportunity is there.
Yeah.
So.
And then dreams right in the middle of it. Sorry.
If you're on YouTube, you can see this diagram.
I had 8 days of downtime in a hospital. My creativity kind of spiked up again. So.
Yeah, I can see. But I like that. I like that. I'll have to play around with that one.
Yeah, have fun with that.
I'll play around with it. But
see, it's the giving thing. We're just like, again, she's honoring us, ladies and gentlemen, by coming on this show and sharing with you. But obviously, she's honoring me too, because then this is why I love podcasting. I get to geek out with co-hosts. I don't interview them because I want it to be a two-way street. And it's
I love having this conversation with you. We could talk easily. Yeah. We've done lunch before. We've done MapCon and talked, and this is great. Yeah. No, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
It's been great.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, listen, obviously you're the guest host and you already kind of transitioned to the end of the show anyway, but because you're going to crush it. All-encompassing message to close out the show. I always give you guys the final word or the final words. So it's a lot. We covered a lot today.
We did.
I'm asking you, like, is there a way to kind of bubble this up or all-encompassing?
Let's see.
What do you think? Or if not, just leave behind an inspiring message.
Well, let's go with life is short, so it's time to don't live life with regret, make moves, take a chance, chase your dreams.
Dude, air mic drop. I'm using my hand, ladies and gentlemen who are listening. So probably dropping the mic. Listen, hang tight. I want to be perfect about the air. Ladies and gentlemen, actually for the video watchers, I'm going to fire off one more screen share again. Again, Aimee, double E on the end, J21.com. Or again, guys, you can do chasingdreamshq.com. It's all going to be linked in the show notes like I always do. Don't worry about it. Just go to livethefuel.com, Google her, and you're going to find her. But again, you got podcast stuff here. She's got stuff about her supporters. She's got her blog. Okay, she's a public speaker. Again, you guys are going to be able to catch us both. I'm guessing. Actually, I'm going to put you on spot. Are you going to be at MapCon?
I'm going to be at MapCon.
There we go, people. So you'll be able to catch her and I again this year at this year's MapCon, and we have a change of venue. It's going to be at a casino. So I'll make sure that is linked in the show notes like I've always done. Whenever we talk about MapCon, I always got to plug Super Joe Pardo and our fun, because that's my first podcast conference. Right?
He's a great guy.
He's a great guy. So listen, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to another Live the Fuel show. Again, we're here to fuel your health, your business, your lifestyle. Aimee hit on all three, knocked it out of the park if you're a baseball fan, put it through the uprights if you're a football fan, or just not sports at all. Just, hey, man, she owned it. All right. So thanks for tuning in to another The Fuel Show. We'll talk to you guys again soon.
Peace.